Leaving the past behind. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Share. If you can, please share, because we believe that somebody can truly benefit from this. And let's grow together. Let's learn together. And I really believe that this is something that's relevant. It's something that a lot of people need to hear, because there are a lot of people that are stuck, due to holding on to things that once was, and leaving the past behind is pretty much, the past is something that once was, or something that pretty much has been, or something that's behind us. And the problem, when we get wounded in our relationships, it's not easy to walk away from that thing, right?
Right.
We can't move forward in our lives because a lot of times we're holding on to the past, right?
Right.
And the past could actually paralyze you. It can leave you in a dark place. And personally, I've experienced holding on to things that I couldn't take into my future. And there's a quote that says, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift of God, which is why we call it a present. And the reality, we are robbed from the present or the gift of today because we're stuck, holding on to those things that once was, and we hinder the things that could be.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
absolutely.
saying? So we want to just kind of talk about some of the, hey, what's up, Dewan? We want to talk about some of, the dangers. It can be pretty dangerous, holding on to the past, right?
Absolutely.
And you can become, honestly, you can become somebody that you're not.
Oh,
Right?
absolutely. Oh, absolutely. You definitely can.
Yeah.
I think when you hold on to the past, it can make you bitter.
Mm-hmm.
It can make you angry.
Absolutely.
It can cause you to become enraged. And like Steve said, it can make you become someone that you're not.
Right.
You can become the stalker girlfriend, or the
Yeah.
stalker wife, or the stalker husband who can't wait for, your significant other or your
Right.
spouse to go to bed at night because you need to creep through their phone to see who they've texted, or whom they called, or where they've been, where was their location.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can become the possessive, like, where you going?
Right.
Type girl, or
Right.
or it only should take you like 20 minutes to get there. You know what I mean? Or where'd you go right after work? You know what I'm saying? You can become somebody that you really don't like.
Right. And in that process, a lot of people suffer, because you used to be sweet. You used to be
Yeah.
humble. You used to be optimistic when it, in regards to love, and even God, you had maybe a fire or passion for your religious beliefs. And because of those experiences, everybody around you have to pay.
Yeah.
Because bitterness is a thing, man.
It
When you get angry. And remember, we were looking at a video the other day, and there was a young lady that tried to burn up somebody's
Yes,
car.
yes.
I know everybody's seen that, right?
Yes.
She tried to burn up somebody's car. I don't know if that had to do with love, but it looked like some what was that movie called?
No, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna
Right.
cry.
But what's the movie?
Wait
The
until
movie
Exhale.
Waiting to Exhale, when you
Man.
ready to burn down somebody's house,
Listen.
and that's, you can use that as a metaphor. If you think about what happened, the thing will blow back in your face. By trying to retaliate or trying
That was good,
to because you're angry and you try to move forward, or you try to do things out of revenge. A lot of times you got to pay for it.
You do.
As opposed to just
You do.
holding on or leaving that thing that once was. You hold on to it, and it's like a bomb.
Yeah, and it
Right?
actually end up costing you more than you bargained for. Like,
Right.
it would have just been so much easier to kind of just let it go.
Right.
And I know that that's easier said than done, but when you think about the expenses that is cost you,
Right.
it's like, dang, I probably should have just left it alone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now I got kids involved, or now, now I got a court case, and now I got all these other issues that are going on. Now then bust the windows out the car, and now I got to pay for it.
Right,
now
right.
they slashed the tires, and I'm in trouble. I got to pay for it because somebody caught it on video.
Right.
It's like, we end up paying way more, and it does blow back in our face, just like you said.
Right. We become those, and I know some of you may have witnessed that before, like may have been around somebody that that was a kind person, or a person that was just a beautiful person, well-rounded person. But after a 10-year relationship, a broken relationship, or a 10-year marriage, or getting remarried, and they get wounded, and you look at them and it's like, wow, where did that person go?
Wow.
And Brett had actually said something in the comments, and he said, holding on to the past can hinder you and becoming what God has called you to be.
That's true.
Absolutely.
That's so true.
Absolutely.
That's so
Yeah.
true.
And also, when, the dangers of it is that you can lose a lot of valuable time
Oh, man,
when you're
you-
holding on to something that once was that will never ever be again,
Yep.
right?
You waste time. You waste time and energy putting it into something you know probably is never going to be what you have in your mind for it to be. It's never
Right.
going to be that. And you waste so much time trying to make it or trying to force it to be that because I don't know, maybe you've already invested so much time into it and you just feel like I don't want to lose out on the time. But to continue with it, you only continue to perpetuate the lost time. Like you just keep
Right.
adding to it
Right.
and adding to it and adding to it.
Right.
So
Compounding, you know,
Yes.
that pressure, you know, when there's a lot of weight on you and a lot of pressure, you know, it can be, time is valuable.
it is.
You
And
know,
you
and-
don't get it back.
Right. And a lot of times we lose ourselves going after a wish, you know, and a wish is just a wish. A dream is just a dream.
A hope.
And I understand, I want people to be optimistic and I want to have desires to maybe reconcile or do things that could be beneficial to their families or their lives. However, sometimes we're just holding on to false hopes.
Yeah.
You know, and we waste a lot of times reaching back for something that will never be.
Yeah.
You know, and it could be pretty tough here.
Right.
And what's up, Ronald? What's up, Ron Tab said he had a question here. He said, I agree with you both. But my question is, how do you do that when not one issue of the past has ever been resolved and it in turn spirals out of control due to unresolved issues? You know what? We're going to actually answer
gonna answer that
We're going to
question.
answer that, Ryan. And that's a great question
That
here.
is an amazing question.
Yes, yes. So
Ron,
we're
because
gonna-
that's what we're here for,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Absolutely. Yep.
So,
Yeah, and another
listening,
yes,
bro.
yes, keep listening, brother. We got some stuff we really want to share. But so share, guys. If you're just now, tuning in, we're talking about leaving the past behind. And another thing that could be very dangerous in the process, babe, is that we can hinder our future opportunities.
Oh, we can.
And Brett said it, God can have so much for you, and not to be religious on you guys. If you believe in the universe, of God or the creator of all heaven and earth, whatever you actually identify him as, I believe that there's a purpose for you. And I believe that, when you holding on to that, the nonsense, the drama, that thing that wasn't even good or healthy for you. And I'm not saying there are some instances to where reconciliation is important and you should fight, for those relationships that are important to you. However, a lot of stuff is just dead weight,
Yeah, I agree.
right?
A lot of
A lot of it is dead weight,
lot
and we're
of it
trying to carry it up to the finish line, but we'll never get there because it's too heavy for
Yeah.
us to bear.
Yep.
So we hinder, our future opportunities, and love that we can have in our lives. There's an open door, but if you keep in that, when you keep closing it, when you're trying to reach back, when you can't take that step, when you're trying to, it's just very dangerous,
It is.
right?
It is. It's dangerous. It's very dangerous. And just think, if you just continue to just go in circles with the same person over and over and over again, how much time that you wasted,
Right.
or how many laps have you probably done around
Right.
the person that God may have intended
Right.
for you to be with? You know what I'm saying? Like, just imagine, like, you just running around this track, trying to catch this person. Hey,
Yeah.
hey. And then while you're running around the track, there's somebody sitting in the bleachers and you just keep bypassing them. You done 7 miles.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You done ran a whole marathon and you just keep bypassing them because you just keep trying to obtain something that's not for you. You just keep
Right.
trying to reach for something that's not for you. And it's like, dang, how many times did I neglect my future
Right.
because I was still holding on to my past?
Right. And let's give some context and disclaimers is that when you're in a marital relationship, there's a different ballgame.
Absolutely.
There are different.
Absolutely.
There's levels to this. You know what I'm saying? So when you make a commitment, of course you need to know context. There's a lot of things that you can do, which we'll get into. However, if you just got a boo, or a baby daddy that never committed to you, if you got a person that's been just pulling you along for years, know that they aren't any good for you. Know that they were just taking advantage of you. Yes, you had some good times, but in your heart, that person isn't good for you, and you're still reaching back.
Yep.
You're still reaching back.
Yep.
You know, so there is a difference, you know, in a marital relationship.
And on
Absolutely.
the flip side, in a marital relationship, if you are constantly holding on to the past, you can never move forward.
Right.
Because you just constantly, you ever argued with a person and all they talk about is what happened yesterday? Like everything that you did before, but we talking about you didn't put the ketchup away today though. Like
Right.
how did we get on, but last year, I couldn't trust you when I sent you to the store to get the ketchup. If you would have just came
Right.
home, like, wait a minute. You know, like, what are we talking about here?
Right.
So holding on to the past in a marital relationship is even more detrimental
Right.
because you just keep yourselves stuck in the mess and it never resolves because you just want to hold on to it.
Right. And a lot of times people, you get the answers are right in front of you. And a lot of times the answers, which we're going to touch on a little later, is that you guys sometimes people aren't really willing to do what it takes.
Right.
They'll say, you know what, I want my marriage, but have you sought God about it? Have you prayed about it? Have you sought counseling?
About
Have
it,
you guys matured? You know, there are a lot of variables that you have to look at in your relationships. So a lot of times you need to know context. You know, there's certain things that aren't salvageable. You know, there's certain things that could be so heavy to where you just give up the fight to do. You know, so there's like in regards to relationships, you know, there's a lot of moving parts. You know, and I would never ever encourage anybody to get a divorce or ever encourage anybody to leave their significant other if they made that commitment. You know, they have children. Absolutely not. And what we're talking about,
if they ain't beating on you or you know what I mean,
right?
It's nothing physical going on in the house or verbal or emotional abuse. I definitely would not suggest that you just drop everything and leave the person that you're trying your hardest to build a life with.
Right.
But if there is some form of abuse, physical, mental, emotional, then sometimes you do have to separate. You got to step away.
Yeah.
You know, because
Absolutely.
you guys have to be healthy.
Right.
You know, because there's no point of continuing if somebody is unhealthy and just keep daggering the heart. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're just sharing we're just generally speaking right now. And this is for the platform, or the topic today is for everybody. So I wish we had a particular room for marriages, you know, because we can really dig deep, you know, really get more target certain things. But this is kind of like a general conversation. But all of the questions are great, and we're going to try to get to all of them, okay? But we're just going to move forward a little bit. And my eye is a little blurry, but a young lady is there. Can you see the name there? Babe, can you see right there? I can't really see
it on your side,
you can't
but I can try to find it on mine.
So, however, you know, why do people hold on? You know, there are reasons. People don't just hold on to hold on. There are reasons, right, why people hold on. And one of the reasons why people hold on to dead weight or things in their past is because they feel like they've invested a lot of time, right? Mm-hmm. They've invested a lot of time, you know, and it caused you to be extremely bitter. You know, you've been together, you know, look, we've been together 10 years, 20 years. And I don't put too much in this. I done got a house with this person. We done started a business. We done been together 30, 40 years. So you want to spend another 30, 40 years miserable.
Just miserable?
Is that what we want to do?
Hold on because we've been together for 30 years? I'm not holding on to nothing that's dead. And just because it's been time has passed or we've invested years, because you could have invested 10 miserable years. Like who wants to hold on to 10 miserable years? Like I don't want to hold on to anything that's misery. You know, I don't want to hold on to anything that's like killing me. I want to let that dead weight go, because people say that all the time, and most of the time it's always ladies that says it, and I feel so bad because we really think that like, because you've been together for a long time, like that means it's worth holding on to. Like that don't mean anything. You just spent 10 years of your life doing absolutely nothing, standing still, being mad, angry, bitter, having unforgiveness in your heart. You know what I'm saying? Like what's the point?
Well,
like,
and just to again for context, we're not talking about people that are in a relationship
that are married.
We're talking about people that have separated, like this is over. You know, pretty much, you know, in your heart, they know in their heart.
Or boyfriend and
Yeah,
girlfriend.
or going back, playing games back and forth. We're not talking about people that
Or
are
engaged
fighting
couples.
or people that are going, you know, really trying to do what they need to do in their relationship and fighting through this. You know, even if you're separated, we're not saying, or we will never encourage, especially people that are married, to say, you know, give it up, you know, or
Yes,
leave the
Rob,
past
yes.
behind.
Rob, marriage is sacred.
Yes. And
like,
divorce does
it
hurt.
hurts. It does.
It hurts.
It
Absolutely.
absolutely
painful.
hurts.
Painful.
It does.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why we say this isn't the talk that's for married people. Like, just give it up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely
Like,
not.
absolutely
No,
not.
no.
But people
no.
that are stuck in the past, that are
Right.
in relationships,
Yeah.
that they're not seeing any progress
Right.
in, and they're just stuck, and they're
Yeah.
bitter, and they're angry, and you can't seem to let it go.
Yeah.
Because you you probably don't want to. It feels good to be in this place because you feel like you got a one up on somebody
Yeah.
because you can be angry.
And it's familiar to you.
Yeah.
It's familiarity.
Yes.
You know, when you're familiar and you're comfortable with something, you most likely will continue to try to stay in that thing.
Yes.
So that's another reason why people hold on, because they feel comfortable. This madness is normal to me.
It is normal.
You know,
the
although
dysfunction
it is
of it is
absolutely
normal. And
Yes.
so we're definitely not speaking, like we said, to married couples,
Right.
because I would never encourage
No.
anybody that has taken a vow before God to just give up on their
Right.
marriage.
Absolutely
because,
not.
Because you
Absolutely
can't
not.
let go of some past hurt.
Right.
Like, if you chose to be in it, then you're going to have to work through whatever those issues are.
Right.
Unless there is some form of physical, mental, or emotional abuse.
Right. And on this platform, it's not enough context. It's not
Yeah.
enough information to actually give people advice right now to choose. You know where you are in your relationship. You know what you had to endure. You know what you're dishing. You know what you have to take.
Yep.
So that's something that you need to get with God, and also a counselor, which we're going to talk about
Absolutely.
a little later.
Absolutely.
But why do people hold on? Another reason is that we got kids together. We got kids together.
Yeah.
And people want to hold on because they have the kids together.
Yeah.
But check this out. Your dysfunction is reproducing dysfunctional kids. So the drama that you're having, especially if you're not married, you're bringing it to your home, you're fussing and fighting, you're angry, you're bitter, and you're doing it for the sake of the children.
Yeah, we
And-
doing this. I'm only staying together for the kids.
For the kids.
Like, when they turn 18,
Right.
I'm done. Like,
Yes.
they're going to be ruined
Right.
by the time they turn 18.
And they're going to reproduce what they see.
They're going to need a whole lot of counseling.
Yeah.
Like, so if you're only holding on for the sake of the children, that is the wrong mentality.
Yes.
Because all we're doing is destroying their little minds, their little hearts,
Yeah.
and then they go on and they perpetuate
Right.
the dysfunction, like Steve said.
Yeah.
So they get in a relationship and they suffer through dysfunction, and then they stay because what? Mama stayed, because
Right.
daddy stayed,
Right.
because they wanted us to have a 2-parent household.
Yeah.
Well, guess what?
Which is important.
A unhappy, dysfunctional 2-parent household could be more detrimental than just a single parent, like a happy single parent household where the two of you are in partnership to
Right.
raise your kids in a healthy manner. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like sometimes we just have to consider those things. Like, is it really for the kids, or is it just for convenience
Right.
and comfortability?
Yeah, and give us some heart. If you believe that, if this resonate with you, give us some heart. Give us some hearts, guys. And for context, again, for those that are new to this live stream, we're talking about leaving the past behind.
Yes.
And just for context sake, we're generally speaking, so that if you're in a marriage, in a marital relationship,
Thanks, Rob.
you want to continue to do everything that you can to fight.
I do want to read
Yes.
some of these comments.
Sure,
though, babe.
sure.
We got some
Go ahead.
really, really good comments in here right
Go
now.
for it.
So let's see here.
I'm gonna eat while y'all.
Let me see. Oh, Satara made a good comment. She said, your rear view mirror is smaller than your windshield for a reason. As hard as it will be moving forward, you will give peace and God. Looking forward will give you peace, and God will definitely be there every step of the way.
Absolutely.
I agree with that
Yeah.
100%. Because how many times do you have to look back when you're driving? Not that often. They say
Right.
glance, and they say glance back
Right.
every so often. You know what I mean? So you can see, just in case you don't want to be rear-ended, or you know what I'm saying. That's what you're glancing back for, but you can't look backwards while you're driving forward.
Like you have an accident.
You have to focus on what's in front of you.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think that that's so important. So thank you for saying that. That is like that comment.
Yes, thank you.
That hit the nail on the head right there.
Right. And we have a few more. Stephanie said this. I was abused and battered and was in prison. I had to move on because the marriage was not healthy. Understood.
Yes.
Understood, Stephanie.
And Stephanie, I'm so glad that you were able to move on, and I hope that you find peace within yourself for doing that. You know, I commend you. I truly commend you.
For being brave.
Yes, because
for being brave.
It's not an easy thing to do, to walk away from a relationship. You know, it's not easy.
No, not at all.
Your hearts are intertwined, your lives are intertwined. You know, everything's all entangled.
Yeah.
You know, and it's difficult.
Very difficult.
And so I commend you for choosing yourself in the matter.
Yeah.
You know, choosing your happiness and your peace.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. And for those that are married or have gotten a divorce, I want to share with you guys, there is life at the end of the tunnel, okay? And some people know me personally. You know my story. You know, in my early 20s, I was married before, you know, and I was a wounded young man. I made decisions probably that I shouldn't have made. You know, I wanted to be right before God. I believed in family, you know, so I did get married, you know, and it was a disaster. You know, I made a choice that, and not blaming anybody, because there's always a contribution in madness. There's always, it's never that one person's fault.
Right.
I'm not saying that people don't trip. I'm not saying that it's not heavy on one side, but we contribute to some of this madness that we're experiencing.
Absolutely, we all do.
And I remember that I would look back, you know, and I would continue to go on. And I'm not saying that that person was a bad person or I was a bad person, but I knew that it was a dead thing, you know, and I went through a lot, you know, torture, just thinking that, man, I made this commitment before God and my family, and now I got to accept the fact that it's over. And I didn't think that there was going to be life after that.
How did you come to accepting the fact, though? Like, what brought you to that point to decide, like, it's over? Like, what brought you to that point? Did you seek counseling? Did you talk to someone? Like, how did you get there?
Well, I knew that it was to a level to where it was a lot of rage in the home. You know, it was a lot of craziness. And when you get to that level, you know, that's not a good thing. You know, and I came to the realization that I was young, and I made, not that I didn't love the person, but I made a hasty, immature decision. Okay. I was a young man, didn't know himself. You know, I didn't have purpose, you know, and I could have waited. And to be honest, it just wasn't, it was a compatibility issue, and that wasn't the person for me. But thank God, you know, I didn't stop there. I didn't give up on hope, because I wouldn't have a wonderful wife for 15 years that I love tremendously. You know, so God has something for you. So I want to speak to you guys. Don't give up. Don't give up. If you have something, fight for that thing. But if you know that it's over, and you, and I don't want to push this, so I'm not insinuating anything, so don't misunderstand me.
Right.
But if you make a decision to not go back, know that God has a plan for that person and for you.
That's
However,
right. That's
if
right.
you know that this is what you're supposed to be doing, you fight for that thing. Don't ever give up. But a lot of people get to that point to where you know that I made a mistake.
Yeah.
And you have to move forward, you know.
And it's okay. Like, if you come to that place, like, where you know, like, all right, this ain't working. You know, we've exhausted all options.
Yeah.
You know, help, you know, counseling did not help.
Right.
You know,
it wasn't ready. You may not have
helped.
been ready or mature to give yourself to that level, on that level, you know, because marriage is about giving of oneself, not receiving. It's not about what you can get out of it. It's what you can put into it.
What you can give. Yeah, what you can give to it. Yeah.
Yes.
So I agree 100%.
Right.
That's good stuff, though, babe.
Thank you, babe.
That's
So, you know, there is a blessing for you. So I want to inspire you, you know, and another, which brings us to another idea why people hold on, is because they don't want to be a failure.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. I think that is, that's one of the main reasons why people hold on. I remember having a conversation with someone, and we were just driving, kind of just cruising and talking. And she shared with me, like, you know, I'm only holding on to this relationship because I don't want to be a failure. You know,
Right.
I don't. You know, I've already had one failed relationship, and I don't want to have another one. You
Right.
know, because then how will everyone else see me?
That's painful.
You know, how will my
Right.
children see me?
Yeah.
You know, how will my parents view me?
Yeah.
You know, and at some point you got to choose yourself. If you're only holding on because you don't want to be a failure,
Right.
you probably already detached.
Right. And you fail yourself.
Yeah, you fail
yourself
do.
self of happiness, of
Yes,
freedom,
you rob yourself
of opportunities. You
Yes.
know, especially if you ain't married. You know what?
Yes.
If he tripping, you know what? Get some esteem. You know, grow up and say, you know what? I am valuable. I can do better than what I have. You know, who cares if you have kids? I mean, it is important. You know, get married. You know, it should be a 2-family parent
it
household. You know,
definitely should. I
because
agree with that.
statistics shows that the rates are staggering when the father's out of the home. You know, things are tough. It's higher suicide rate, higher incarceration rate, higher anger and anxiety rate. So there are true benefits in 2-family household. But to be honest, sometimes if it's not going to work, you have to make a decision
Yeah.
to be healthy than to be in a relationship that's damaging you and your family even more, right?
Yep. It's a lot of good comments in here, you guys.
Go ahead, shoot.
Okay. Thanks, Tony. He said, loving this, sis and bro. Definitely can help a lot of people in life situations. Just hearing it talked about. I agree with that, like 100%.
Right. Have a lot of them here. Huh?
Portia said, it takes two to make a marriage and a relationship work. Never feel guilty for ending the relationship. I agree with that, especially if you guys if both of you have given your all, right?
Yeah.
If you've given your all, or if you have given your all and the other person isn't willing to put in any work.
Because it takes work.
It takes
Absolutely.
so much work to make
Yeah.
a relationship work, right? It's hands
it's
on.
work. Yeah.
You know, it's hands on.
A lot of work.
And for someone to think that the other person has to carry the brunt of the load and they don't have to do anything, you know, but show up,
Right.
sex you up
and receive.
and
right.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if that's all somebody thinks that they have to do in order to be a part of the relationship or feel like they've given something to the relationship,
Right.
then there's going to be a lot of lack. And then
Right.
somebody's going to be carrying the load and somebody's going to be frustrated.
Right.
And then the relationship is going to have issues. But if two people are not willing to put in the work,
Right.
then the relationship is already doomed from the beginning.
Yeah, and we know it's hard. It's easier said than done. You know, especially you don't want to be a failure. You know, but who hasn't failed? You know, I'm not justifying our failures. However, you know, you can't let that pride get in the way.
Yeah.
And you be in a position that you know that's killing you.
Yeah.
You know that's hurting you. You know that it's not good for you for the sake of what mama's going to say.
Yes.
Or what the sake of what the church people going to say.
Yep.
Or what the sake of what your sister going to say.
Like, who cares?
Right? Who cares?
They
You know,
probably
you have to be
unhappy.
happy. You have to be happy. You know, and Sharice has said something here about
was just about to read
about
her
financial reasons.
That
yes.
is that is the
convenience.
big-
Convenience.
is
Absolutely.
one of the biggest reasons
Yes.
why people stay together. Because of financial obligations. And they probably can't afford to live apart.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They
He
got
go to
these-
work. At least he go to work.
Yeah.
He
and-
knocked me upside my head, but he goes to work.
and you know, like that it's just true. Some
Yeah.
people really stay together because financially it is probably it's in the
Convenience.
best interest to stay together financially because without each other, without one another, they can't do it.
Right.
You know, and
Yeah.
so you go on continuing to hurt the other person because you both unhappy.
Right. Right.
You know, and what's the point of that?
And that brings us to this. And hey, what's up, cousin? Keisha said we all have pride and an ego, and that is a problem. Absolutely.
Absolutely. It
We
is.
absolutely do. Hey, Isha. Hey, what's going on,
And
Bonnie?
it takes real mature people to understand that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To
Yeah,
let go
absolutely.
of our pride and say, what's in the best interest
Yeah.
of us?
Right.
You know, if I love you and you love me, what is in our best interest?
Right.
You know,
Right.
to just set the pride to the side and say, hey, I know I screwed
Right.
up. You've screwed up. We
Yeah.
both made mistakes. You know, I did this. You've done that. But hey, is it worth us working it out?
Right.
You know, or should we just leave the past in the past?
Right.
And move on.
Right. And a lot of times we unconsciously or consciously know that we're to that place of such bitterness to where we're not even willing to fight anymore.
Yeah.
And that's a sad place to be in. And you clam up. You become so bitter to where you don't even care what they do anymore.
Yeah.
You know, the words, they don't hurt anymore. You know, her disrespecting you, you can care less. You're not coming home anymore. And that's a tough spot to be in. And a lot of people do, babe. They compromise because they lack self-worth. They don't value who they are. They don't value who God has created them to be.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they weren't affirmed at a young age. Maybe they're just perpetuating what they've seen in the past. Right. You know, they don't believe that there's more for them. They don't believe that they can do better. They may feel I'm uneducated, or how could I do this alone? I got these kids. You know what, honey, you can do it alone.
Yeah.
You know, man, hey, I know you want to you want to be close to her, but man, hey, especially if you're not married, hey, bro, if you had a breaking point and it's not going to work and you're not willing to do what it takes, bro, claim your happiness.
Because if you don't, who, and I hate to say this, and I hate that my mind always goes there, but when people are unhappy, man, terrible things happen. Like terrible things happen.
You get entangled, like we talked about last week. You can get entangled.
Or you snap because you so fed up and you just been, it's just been piling on and piling on and piling on. Like snap is a real thing.
It is.
And people snap because they've been just taking it and 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 they haven't let go.
Right.
And it's like, no, sis, just let it go.
Yeah.
You know
Brother,
what I'm saying?
just
No,
let
bro,
it go.
like just
especially if you
let
are
it
not
go.
ready or married. You know, you gotta, hey, if that person isn't committing to you, you gotta let some things go, right? You gotta find some self-worth. And like Ron said, it's hard to accept failure. Absolutely.
It is.
I mean, who wants to be a failure? I felt terrible. I mean, I'm like, look, and I was in the church very active, and I'm getting a divorce. I got a house full of craziness going on, but I'm supposed to be an example. You know, I got young folks looking up to me, you know, and I'm acting the fool. We acting the fool. You know, it's just a mockery. You know, it's hurtful to know that you made a decision that you probably shouldn't have made, and you're not willing to do what it takes, or you don't have the ability or the capacity to sustain it and to say, you know what? I throw my hands up. That's the most embarrassing position, especially a Christian man or, you know, a person, period. You know, and I'm not trying to bring religion into it, but that's a soft area.
It is.
And it leaves you vulnerable. It leaves you almost hopeless or helpless. It makes you feel like, how could I be redeemed? There's no life after this.
Wow.
But it's a lie. There is life. Again,
Wow.
we're not talking about get a divorce from your husband or your wives. What we're talking about is that if you're at a point to where you know, especially if you're not in a monogamous relationship or in a marital relationship, if it's toxic and it's not good for you, you need to find some self-worth and value and know who God created you.
And even if you are in a marital relationship and it is toxic, because we have to address that too.
Yeah.
Because there are marital relationships that are very toxic. You know what I mean? And people don't talk about it. People, you know, shy away from talking about the toxicity, whatever my word is. I can't get it out right now.
Toxicity
that is in marriage.
Right.
You know, sometimes you can have two really good people, but them two really good people don't mesh well together.
Yeah.
And
Compatibility. You can have a compatibility issue.
Yes. And they can do all the counseling in the world, and it still ain't gonna work. They can do all the praying and fasting in the world, and it still won't work.
Right.
So let's just call a spade. Like if you're in a relationship in general, and no, I don't condone divorce, but I do.
No, absolutely. This is not what this is
about.
about.
I do condone happy and healthy whole people.
Yeah.
Because you can't be good to anyone else if you're unhappy, if you're unhealthy,
Yeah.
if you're not whole. You can't give to your kids what you should give to them if you're unhappy,
Right.
if you're unhealthy,
Yes.
if your home is toxic. Like we have to really think about that, because just because we are married doesn't mean we should have been married and should have gotten married
Right.
and should have got together. Because sometimes it might be one party, or it might be both parties are not willing to do the work.
Right.
And again, we're not saying get a divorce, but what I am saying is if is if there is some
eating
form
tonight.
of toxic behavior that one party is not willing to change,
Right.
that you have to choose yourself
Right. And that's why
and your own well-being
Right.
and your own happiness, because God didn't create us to be unhappy. I don't care
No.
if we married or not.
Right.
Some marriages wasn't never supposed to happen.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because they don't have the capacity to love that person. They may have compatibility issues, different tolerances, different mindsets. They come from different islands or cultural backgrounds. They
Yep.
have different values. They have different religious beliefs, and they have different standards. And then when you put it together, and you come to find out that, man, I don't know who I married. But that's
Right.
why we're an advocate for premarital counseling.
Right.
To understand who you are, what you're getting into, who you're getting into it with, and where you're going. If you don't know that, of course you got to learn on the job. Of course you don't know that person wholeheartedly or 100% until you actually live with that
And
person.
sex is just
But you
not
need to
the
know
only
enough,
thing that
right?
makes you compatible.
Right,
Because
right.
any two people can get together and hump.
Man,
You know
all
what I'm
right,
saying? Like,
right.
like sex doesn't make it you compatible.
Yeah.
Like we argue hard and then we have good sex.
Yeah,
like
that's
who wants to
ridiculous.
do that?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I don't want to do that. That's
Yeah,
dumb.
yeah,
Why-
exactly.
Why can't we just have good sex on the regular? Like why we got to argue and then make up? That don't even make sense to me.
Right.
That's so toxic.
Yeah,
like,
very toxic.
That's not okay, people.
Right.
Like create a space where y'all can be free to
Yeah.
to always have a good sex life or
Right.
always have a good romantic life. Like it shouldn't
Just
be
because.
Yeah.
Just because it's good.
Just
You know what I'm
because it's
saying?
good, yeah.
Just because I'm good.
Shut up, boy. I knew he was gonna go somewhere else. Anyway.
Cheers to that.
Anyway.
No, but you're absolutely right. So
Seriously.
people need to stop. We got to have more. Stop being so insecure.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we find
that's
this.
what it all
And
boils down to.
yeah. That's one of the reasons why we hold on, because a lot of women have that, because women have been conditioned to feel inadequate when it comes to being independent.
Yep.
However, on
If
the
they
flip
don't have a
side,
man.
it's getting worse, because now you got a lot of independent women that think they don't need a man and all that. Yeah, you don't need a man, but don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Everybody desires some form of
yeah, you're
companionship.
gonna need one, but you want one.
Right, and when a strong man is there, he only make you better. When a strong woman is there, they only make you better. So don't get it twisted with this woman power. I don't need a man. No, I'm not saying you just got to have a man, but know that a man could actually, when you guys get together, you can do some amazing
Yes,
things,
when
right?
You get to yes.
And let's
I
talk
agree.
about like some of the, the benefits of like letting go. And when you make a decision to let go, you can actually find yourself again.
Yes.
Because here's the truth, guys. A lot of you guys you've lost yourself
Yeah.
in the process of going after somebody hard.
Oh.
You've abandoned or neglected who you are, because you're chasing after something that will never ever be.
Like you done neglected
Yeah.
all of the things that you love.
Right.
Like you literally
Yeah.
have neglect. Like I don't,
Education, everything.
like you ever watch people get together and it'd be like them, like me and you against the world, like that's the attitude, and it'd be like no, like like my dad used to always say, like relationships make you wealthy. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like I remember him telling me that as a young person. Like that's why he's so big on family.
Right,
like that
right.
that's your wealth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's your wealth. Like having good relationships, that's your
That's
wealth.
your wealth. That's
like
your
so
wealth.
if you get with somebody and all they want to do is seclude you, all they want is you for themselves, that's a red flag.
Yeah,
like
it is, right.
immediately. Because it should never be y'all two against the
Right.
world. Like why we gotta be against the whole
well,
world?
It should be to a level. I understand what you're
Yes,
saying, though.
but not neglect everything around you. Not neglect your
Right,
family.
right.
Not neglect everything. Not neglect your friends. Like
Right, no,
anytime
no,
somebody
right,
just try to take you away from everything else,
Yeah, that's That's a problem.
That's a problem. And
Yeah.
sometimes we just let it happen, like freely, thinking like that's what love is. Like, no, that's really not what love
Absolutely.
is. You know,
Absolutely
love
not.
shouldn't take you away from anything. Love shouldn't take you away from your family, your friends, and seclude you only to that person.
Right.
Like, we leave and cleave, but not seclude.
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely.
know?
Now, you need some level of autonomy, which we talked about before, and some level of freedom.
Yes.
You know, and because when you come together, it can be that much beautiful.
Yes.
And now, we're not implying that you guys don't be. We believe in partnership. We're always together and do things
That's
together.
right, Satara. I love that
What
song.
does Satara
She's-
say?
She, Neo. I'm a movement by myself, but we're a force when we're together. That's
Absolutely.
right.
You make me better.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And that's how it should be. Like, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be like it's horrible when we together. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
tear
and
me
it's-
down.
Yeah, and like we talked about, mom and dad might have been had craziness and they reproduced. Mom and dad decided to stick it out, or there was a period to where they were together. You witnessed that. That's all that you know. You perpetuate, you reproduce after what you've seen.
Yeah.
So that's why it's healthy sometimes to suffer for a moment.
Yeah.
So that your children won't suffer.
Yeah.
You know, if it's best, and I'm not talking, again, disclaimer, we're not implying that you should get a divorce from the person, fight for your marriages. We're talking about people that are holding on to baby daddies and baby mamas, or that
Yeah.
boyfriend that you know he ain't good for you,
Yeah.
you know, or even that husband or wife to where you know that it's been 3 years, you still married, you dating other people, she's dating other people, you know that it's over. You know, you probably want to come to a decision,
Yeah.
you know, and take that next step, which I don't encourage, but that's the hard truth. Now, another reason, babe, is that one benefit of letting go is you create room for new things.
Oh, you do.
You create
That is
rooms
so
for
true.
new. We hold a lot of times we hold on to trash.
Yeah, that we do.
Take out the garbage,
Take
right?
take it out.
Take out the
Take
garbage,
trash.
man.
Take out the trash.
If he
Or
ain't no
like,
good, take him out.
I like to get rid of stuff. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't like to hold on to things. So like clothes and like handbags. Like, I'm not a person, like, I don't get attached to things.
Right.
So when people are attached to things, like, I don't know. I'd be like, just throw it away, or like just give it away. Like,
Right.
why are we holding on to something that you know you ain't worn in like 5 years? What are we holding on to
Right.
it for? You're never gonna fit back into it. Like, just give it away.
Right.
I feel the same thing about dead relationships. Like, what are we holding on to it for, guys?
Right.
Like in all honesty, are you wearing it? Does it make you happy when you put it on? You know what I'm saying? Do you feel free when you put it on,
Right.
or do you feel confined? Like, because it might be too small, it might not fit. You know what I
Right.
mean? So just get rid
Get
of
rid
it.
of it. Get rid of it.
Because you can embrace something new when you get rid of the old thing that's like holding you down.
Right, right. And we
know?
wear Goodwill clothes, man. You got some Gucci in your future. You know what I'm saying? So seriously, you know, you gotta create room for what God has for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if you
Create
got a house
space.
full of if you got a house full of stuff,
A house full of clutter,
how
right?
could you be in a position to receive something that's amazing?
Right.
But a lot of times we think that that's all we can get. A lot of times we think, hey, we don't have that esteem. You know,
We
we're
won't have the self-worth to think that, hey, I'm worth more than
Right.
this dude coming home on some Tuesdays.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Or
Like,
coming over just to get some
or-
at night.
or coming over
He
just-
ain't in the monogamy. He haven't claimed me.
Yep.
I ain't seen no Facebook pictures.
Ooh.
We
And
done
even
been
if
together
you
3
do-
years.
And even if you do see Facebook pictures, like, really, what does it really mean?
Right,
You
exactly.
know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
if he disrespectful, if he doesn't honor you, or if she doesn't honor you, if y'all constantly arguing back and forth, like, that's not cool. Like,
Yeah.
let those things go.
Right.
Because you're holding on to some just really heavy dead weight.
Right.
And you'll realize how free you feel when you're not carrying that burden any longer.
Right, but you have to value who you are and know that there's better for you before you can embrace that truth. So you got to change that paradigm. You got to chase that paradigm, you know, and a lot of people we do, that's a impoverished mentality. You know, we hold on to things because we don't,
This all I
you know,
can
this
get.
all I can get. This all I can get. But the reality is that if you find value and hold your head up high and walk like you somebody, guess what? You're going to attract those people that knows that vibe. You know, you're an advertisement. What are you saying? What is your body language saying? I ain't worth it. Are you being vulnerable? Are you being naive? Letting anybody in your world, and then you complain about you can't find a good man. Yeah, because you have these esteem issues and you have a big sign over your head, saying, hey, love me, love me. You have no boundaries. You have no standards and you accept trash. And then therefore, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids down the line.
Or years down the line.
You holding on to something that once was, and you're not available for something that could be, that can be wonderful for you, right?
Yes.
So we gotta get some esteem about ourselves, right?
Good.
We gotta get some esteem about ourselves. Wake up, ladies. Wake up, gentlemen. I'm an example that if you get yourself right, and I'm not perfect, but if you mature as a man or as a woman, and you position yourself and have some pride about who you are and who created you and how great that you are and that you stand alone great and you don't just need nobody, but you want somebody, you're going to attract people in your life.
Great.
You know what I'm saying? Absolutely.
Like, that's the truth. Like,
yes.
you are stand alone
Get some boldness.
great.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
Like, without Steve, I'm that deal. Like,
she's
I know
nothing
that.
without me.
I'm nothing. I am nothing without you, baby.
No, but you're absolutely right.
But
you're absolutely right.
for real, like, and you have to know that that's not like an ego
give
thing.
us some hearts. If you believe that, give us some love, man.
That's not an ego thing. That's a confidence thing.
It's a confidence
thing.
thing.
That's a self-esteem thing.
Absolutely.
Like, I know that I am worth more than somebody giving me a half behind a man, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Don't give me half of you,
right.
and don't treat me any kind of way and think I'm just supposed to accept it.
Right, absolutely not.
I do accept it. You know what I'm saying?
Right, and
like,
people would treat you the way they would
let them.
The way that you let them. They only do what they do to you is because you allow them.
Because you keep letting them do it. Like, you keep letting them do it.
Yeah.
So guess what? They gonna keep
on
doing it because you keep taking it.
Keep taking it.
You don't have no standard for yourself. None.
Right.
And they like, yo, she let me get away with it.
Right.
Why do people cheat? Because you let them get away with it.
Yeah.
They already know she gonna forgive me.
Right. He
gonna forgive me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And ladies, look.
She ain't going nowhere.
Look, ladies that are watching here, because most of our demographics are women between 35 and 44. Look, you are valuable. I don't know if you had a father in your life or not, but you deserve more. Don't allow a no good piece of you know what control your life or hinder you from having what God has for you.
That's right.
And know that your financial status does not determine your worth. What you drive does not determine your worth.
What you wear.
Your butt or your titties don't determine your worth.
No.
What's in your heart and your head will determine your worth, or who God created you to be. Is you are worth something great. You are, man, if you only knew how great a lot of people don't know how great they are.
Yeah. A lot of people don't.
They haven't been built up. You know, the black man has been removed from the equation, and these women think that their fake booties and titties is valuable.
Right.
He just want to hit it. He ain't gonna commit to you. Get some wealth. Get something in your head. Get something in your heart.
Get something in your
Know that you're
heart.
valuable. Who cares if you have a few kids? Guess what? Raise those kids. Get your degree, and know that you are somebody, man. You know, you are somebody.
Yes.
You don't got to take that mess.
Yes.
You don't have to take that mess. You know, so I know it resonate with you. Man, look, young man, you don't have to take this woman just because she's fine. She can talk to you any kind of way. Get some dignity. Put on some pants, bro. You know, if she ain't going to commit to you, if she's going to just take from you and not give to you, man, you got to move on.
What can you give her?
Yes.
Ooh,
you got to move on, bro.
Ooh, do you got some money? Can you get my hair done? Can you pay my phone bill?
That's right.
Can you pay? What? Like, that's all we equate one another to?
See, you
like
are
sex
worth it.
and money?
Absolutely.
Like, that's all we equate ourselves to?
Right.
Like, that is insane. Like, for us to just think, like, all I'm worth is my ass. All he's worth is what he got in his pocket.
Yes.
Like, come on, people. Yeah. Like, we got to know we have more value than that. Like, I hate to see when women wear things and think like that's their value.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You You think because you got on some Gucci shades and some J's or some Louis, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That
Red
that's
bottoms.
some red bottoms. That's your worth. Like, get a life,
get your esteem from
sweetheart.
that.
Like,
No.
your esteem should never come from the things you possess. It
Right.
gotta come from within.
Gotta
like,
come
and
from
if you
within.
don't know that,
Yeah.
like, I want to tell you, like, you're worth more.
Yeah.
You are worth more. And for
Absolutely.
whatever reason, we have allowed the world to dictate to
Yeah.
us where our worth comes from, where our esteem comes from. And it's false.
It's false.
It's false.
Absolutely.
Men, don't nobody care what kind of car you drive. Like,
Yeah.
does it get you to
Right.
work?
Right.
Is it paid for?
Yeah.
Can you afford a life with
Right.
me?
Absolutely.
Can you help raise our kids and give them self-esteem?
Yeah.
Can you
And
be
love
a
me.
great father? Can you love us? Can you
Yeah.
protect us? Will you honor me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the things that matter. Nobody cares about how much money you
Right.
have in your pocket that
Right.
you're going to waste on something frivolous and stupid.
Right.
Like,
Trying
nobody
to keep
cares
up
about
with
that.
the Joneses.
Nobody
to
cares
look
about that.
good because you find value in those things. And you're absolutely right. Beauty is within. Beauty is
is.
within. But we got to accept that truth.
Yes.
And to be honest, not to get religious, but you can only find that in God.
You can.
And know that God has created you to be beautiful. You're fearfully and beautifully made.
And we
Isn't
did
that what the
not
good
say
book says?
you can only find it in church.
Right.
You can
right.
only find
Right.
that in God.
Yeah.
Like, so get to know him.
Yeah.
Like, get to know him.
Right. And not to be religious, not being religious, guys.
But it is the truth.
Yeah.
Like, you have to know your value. You
Gotta
have
know
to
your
know
value.
your self-worth. I'm so tired of young ladies getting butt implants and bigger boobs because
Yeah.
they think like that's what's going to grab the man's
Right.
attention.
It'll get his attention.
It is going to get his
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah. It'll get one thing attention. Yeah. You stand
make
up
him
and
stand.
attention.
But that's it.
Absolutely. But once that's
He ain't
that's
gonna
over a
love
few
your
more
heart.
times.
If ain't
Yeah.
nothing in here and everything is here, you know what I'm saying? Like, this not gonna hold no man.
No.
Like, it's not.
Right.
Because there's so many women in the world that has all the same. We all have that.
Right. And it's going to disappear.
And it will. It's gonna
It's
drop,
gonna drop.
one day. It's gonna fall one day. Like, nobody cares about those things. What's in your heart?
Right.
What's in your mind?
Yeah.
Can you have a good conversation? Are
Right.
you compassionate?
Right.
Are you caring?
You're respectful.
Are you respectful?
Right. Are you driven? Do you have wisdom? Do you have a vision? Can you love me? Are you there for me? Are you committed? Are you willing to be honest with me? Are you trustworthy? Are you down for me? That's what we need.
Because I guarantee you this, it ain't going to be a man happy at 45 or 50 when he all by himself in the bed at night and then something happens. It's all fun and games until something happens and
Yeah.
you alone in a hospital bed because
Man.
ain't nobody there with you. Because
Yeah.
you haven't given yourself to anybody.
Right.
You haven't chosen someone that was going to be there for you. Thick or thin. Like, you haven't
Right.
chosen someone. Like, it's a sad day when you in the hospital and it ain't nobody there.
Right. Yeah.
You there by yourself. You and your mama.
Right. Or you might be there with that young woman that's out. Well, she might come after
No,
she
she
spend
got
the
your
money.
car
After she
and your
up the
debit card.
insurance policy, make sure that insurance is intact. So when that
all
old man
fun and
trying to
games
get a
until
young
you by
woman,
yourself.
and then you gone and she get to enjoy the fruits of your labor,
Until
man.
you didn't had a stroke and you by yourself.
I'm telling you.
Until you didn't had a heart attack and you by
Yeah.
yourself. Until you're dealing with corona and you by yourself.
Man, for real.
It's all fun
this
and
is
games.
real life. And we're vain. We all have moments to where we don't use the best wisdom. But at the end of the day, we really got to check our mindset, check our habits, check our intentions, and check what we're trying to do. Because when it's all said and done, can you truly say that I was with the person that loved me and not just said it through words, but you knew that they demonstrated a lot of deeds and action
Right.
that affirmed or confirmed the love that they have for
Yeah.
you. So it's important, y'all, that you stop holding on so you could find what God has for you. You know what I'm saying? And also, another reason, babe, we're going to move on because we only got a few more minutes,
Okay,
and I
okay.
do not want to
Okay.
keep people all night. It is Sunday, so y'all can give me an offering. My Cash App
up.
is
A
Steve
offering, though?
McCoy. It is my birthday, though.
It is
It
your
was my
birthday.
birthday
It was your
Friday.
birthday.
So if you want to give your boys
Okay,
some cash,
I'll let him say his Cash App because it was his birthday.
my Cash App is my Cash App is Steve McCoy. Like, I don't care. Look, Look, daddy's got to eat. You know what I'm saying? We got something that we're building, and we need to put in
Listen.
some money into our marketing and
Listen,
stuff. Don't let people
moving
bless
forward,
me, man.
Though, moving forward, because I have to say this though. Shut up. Shut up.
Go
So,
ahead.
but moving forward, I think about this all the time too. Like for people that don't allow themselves an opportunity to heal because they are habitual relationship chasers, or habitual love chasers.
Feelings.
They
Euphoria.
they're so infatuated with love.
The ideal.
Yeah, the idea of love
Yeah.
that they just can't be alone. That says something about somebody when they
Yeah.
just can't be alone, when they can't sit with their own self. Something is so unhappy and miserable about you that you just can't sit with your own self.
But a lot of us, the honest thing, babe, is a lot of us being still and checking our thoughts or our mindsets about ourselves can be painful.
It can.
Because the
I
reality
know.
is a lot of us have insecurities, but I think it's important that we do have those
Yeah,
moments
we
of
do. We have to have
solitude and those times to communicate with God, to say, you know what? Show me myself, show me my insecurities, show me my downfalls so that I can be strong, not just for myself, but for the person that I'm with or the person that you're bringing into my life. And even more importantly, the person for my children, because we're going to leave them. And like I heard a quote that says, it's not really important what you leave to your children. It's more important to what you leave in them.
Yeah.
So it's more important for you to leave something in them than to leave something to them. Because you can leave $1 million, but if they don't have the right mindset
They're
or
gonna
the right
blow
heart,
it.
like the people that get millions of dollars on the lottery,
They end up broke in
end
5
up
years.
right. But if you give a man the right mindset, how to manage his money and to know his value and to know exactly who he was created to be, guess what? He can multiply that thing which you left behind.
And
right?
what happens when you don't sit with the pain, right? What happens when you don't heal? What happens when you don't embrace the pain, when you don't embrace the poison of the relationship, right? You don't deal with it. All you do is you find yourself in another relationship mirroring the same thing because nothing has changed in you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you get you get another person
Yeah.
and then you go
Yeah.
through the same
Right.
thing.
Right.
And 6 months later, maybe a year, maybe even 2 years, it ends the same way because you don't deal with the issues that you have.
Right.
You never address them.
And people don't. When you get in a relationship, we don't really be honest with ourselves. And a lot of times, we're not self-aware. We think, we may have a certain level of income. We may drive a certain thing. We may get our hair done, and look all good. But a lot of times we don't assess our character. We don't assess our mindset and what we're going through emotionally. And that thing comes out in relationships.
Yeah.
And when we don't take time to self-assess or evaluate who we are, to the core, we'll just randomly manifest those things, or things will happen in our relationship. And a lot of times it's not really like a marital problem. It's an individual problem.
I was about to say
You
that.
crazy, I'm crazy. We love each other,
Dang.
but we got to learn how to deal with ourselves and get some help, not just in our
And it-
marriage,
and
but
it doesn't-
independent of one another.
It doesn't even stop when you're in a marriage. Like, you still have to evaluate yourself.
Yeah.
You got
Keep
to
growing. Keep growing, man.
reevaluate the marriage.
Yeah. Oh,
you
man. Need a
nothing
tune-up, right?
stops because you fall in love and you
Man.
get somebody great and everything is working well. Like, you got to give it tune-ups.
You got to.
Like, and you have to do self-checks. Like, you have to. Like, you got to change the oil sometimes.
Got to change that
You know
oil.
what I'm saying? Every month.
No
every
matter how
every
pretty that car is.
3,000 miles.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You have to address yourself, and you
Yes.
have to evaluate where you are.
Right.
Mentally, where am I?
Right.
Because we're still individuals. Although we are married, I'm still me.
Absolutely.
And sometimes we can lose ourselves so much in a relationship, we forget about ourselves, and that's how we end
lose
up
ourselves in the process.
taking a whole lot of mess
Right.
and being dumped on because you forgot who you were.
Right. And if you think about it, if you think about the analogy of a car, like I remember when I was about 18, 19 years old, I remember, they're going to try to get you credit cards and everything when you're 19, right?
Right.
So I remember, I'm like, man, I'm 19, 18, 19, I'm about to get me a whip. You know what I'm saying? So I went to the car.
What was you about to get?
I'm about to tell you.
What was you about to
So
get?
I went to a dealership, right? And it was called Detroit Auto Finances or something like
On
that,
Green
right?
River?
One of these
On
places, I don't
Avon?
even remember, but they saw a young brother coming, and they want to they want to get you. They know
get
that
you.
you're naive, right? So I remember I saw this Eddie Bauer old window. It had leather though. I'm like, man, I can get me a
It had
Ford
leather.
little Eddie Bauer little truck, and it was about 10, 11 years old. But man, they got me at like 22% interest rate. Look, but check this out. And I rolled off. I thought I was somebody, right? But I drove it for a minute, and I had, I think, a 5 to 7 year
And it was
payment
10
on this thing. But guess what?
It was 10
They
years
sold
old?
me pretty much a lemon.
Of course they did.
Right, but think about our relationships. A lot of times we're looking at the outer appearance. We're looking good on the outside. We're looking at the brand of things, how she look, what he
Put together
drives.
real
But when
well.
you look under that hood, that engine is about to blow. And the reality is that we have to check our hearts. We got to check out who we are. You know what I'm saying? Before we get into not what she's done or who she is, but who we are. And a lot of times we don't do that. So I want to challenge y'all. Look, if you're in a relationship, or if you're considering a relationship, or if you're going through the go through, and this really applies to you, you don't really know whether to leave or stay, go home and evaluate your mindset and your heart.
Yep.
Ask God to fix you, your mindset, your paradigm, to heal your heart and your emotions, to get you through this, right?
Right.
And we want to give people, a few tips though before we go, because we're past time. We said it was going to be 10:30,
So
but
go back to Ron's question.
go ahead. We're going to read a few comments, then we'll give some tips.
We got to go back to
and
the
then we'll let
beginning
you
so we can
guys
get
go to
Ron's
bed.
question, because Ron had a question.
Ron said, I judge myself extremely hard. Brother, look, bro, yes, of course, assess where you are, but bro, do not tear yourself down. Because when you tear yourself down, man, you can't recover. When you're so hard on yourself, man, you'll get depressed, you'll get stressed. So, look at some of the good things that you have done. Look at the person that you know that you are from the core, and don't be hard on yourself, right? Go ahead, baby.
Marlana, is it Marlana? She was just piggybacking off of Ron's question, and she said, I'm trying to figure out how to let go of my marriage that I thought was indestructible. But now I'm going through a divorce, and it's killing me to know he's in love with someone new and cheated. I just don't know how to let it go and not fight for it. So I'm going to say this, because if he's moved on, it ain't nothing to fight for. And I hate to say that, right? But it is the honest to goodness truth. If he's moved on, you're fighting, or you want to fight, and he's not there to fight.
Yeah.
So you have to seriously let it go.
Well, here's the thing, babe, and we're going to some tips to moving forward, and I want you guys to listen to this. Number one, and you just mentioned one of them, but what was the young lady's name? I didn't get it. Marlana. Look, number one, you need to accept that it's over.
Yep. That's so hard, Marlana.
You got to accept that it is over.
And we get it. That
Yeah.
is so very hard, because that was your marriage.
Right.
You guys had a life together.
Yeah.
Like you had a home together.
Mm-hmm.
Probably had kids together.
Right.
You got bank accounts together. And that's not an easy thing to do, is to accept that it's over.
Right. And you need to ask yourself, why are you holding on?
Right.
And if you be honest with yourself, I don't know you, but it's probably because you have self-worth issues, that you have insecurities. And it's not just you don't want to lose him or you feel like a failure, but you have to find value, sis, in who you are. Know that you can recover. Know that there is more for you, right?
Yeah.
So you got to accept in your heart that the brother has moved on.
Yeah.
That's dead weight.
Yeah.
It's gone. It is over.
And when you accept that it's over, like, you no longer seek communication with that person.
Yeah.
You no longer seek the opportunity.
Stop going back.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Stop going back. Like, stop looking behind. Like Satara said about the rear view mirror. Like you gotta you have to not look for opportunities to communicate with that person.
Right.
You can't look for opportunities for that person to have to come over, that person to have to come get their mail, or that for that person to be in close proximity with you because you feel like if you just give him a look, he'll see the love in my eyes.
Right.
Like, no. Like, you have to accept the fact that he has moved
on. Right.
And this, what you're desiring will not be.
Right. And you need to start the healing process, you know. And here's a problem. Like, when we move forward, and if we don't drop the thing, if we drop a thing and keep looking back, it's kind of like a sore. You know, unfortunately, I'm a picker.
Oh, he is.
I'm a picker. If I see a bump or something, I pick. And as a result of my picking, I get scars on my body. And what happens is that if you have a scar on your body and you continue to pick it, guess what? You take the scab off, it'll take longer to heal. It'll heal a little bit. You take the scab off, it'll get worse. And the next thing you know, there's an image or there is a scar on your body that's hard to remove. So when you keep looking back,
there's an infection.
Exactly.
And now you got to have antibiotics to heal it because you keep picking at it.
Right.
And maybe that might be a remedy. Maybe you need to go and speak to somebody.
Yeah, and it's the memories because you keep looking back. You never, ever give yourself an opportunity to heal. So, sis, you got to stop picking. Stop looking back. Drop it like it's hot because it's burning you.
And not only like drop it like it's hot, but fill your time with other things.
Right.
You know what I mean? Don't sit at home thinking about the shoulda, coulda, wouldas because that's gone. You said he's moved on.
They're living in the what ifs.
Yeah.
Or what could be.
Yeah, that fantasy. Right? Like
that's a trap.
Don't keep replaying that fantasy of the what ifs in your head. Like, fill your time with something else. What about that hobby that you once wanted to do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What about going on a vacation?
Yeah, set some goals.
What about going back to school?
Right.
What about picking up some new books? You know, or hanging out with some old friends.
Right.
You know, like rekindling old friendships that you let go of because that person came in your life and it was you and him against the world. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, fill your time with other things so that you're not always thinking about it. Right.
And we talked about that. And we got some points here which we'll go down, but this is so good. We're just all over the place because this is a very touchy subject. But I think that this is what God wants. I think that a lot of people that are viewing, they need answers or they're stuck.
Therapy ain't bad.
No, it's not. Yes.
It is healing.
It is healing.
It is healing to your soul.
Yes.
And sometimes with a good therapist, they don't always speak.
Right.
A lot of times you do a lot of the talking and you answer yourself.
Right.
You come to your own resolve.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just have to hear yourself say it aloud. Sometimes you just have to hear yourself just speak it. You know what I mean? And sometimes it takes the right person asking you the right questions. That way you can look at it a little differently.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because really, you know, Marlana, or for anybody else, is it really something worth holding on to?
Right.
If he had cheated and decided to move on anyway, is it really something worth?
Right. And what is it gonna cost you?
Reconcile.
Right. What is it gonna cost you? You know, and choose you. You got to choose you, guys. You got to find the value in who you are.
You're worth more than that love.
Yes, you're worth more. Right. You don't have to take.
Or whatever you feel like that love is.
Right. Absolutely.
Like, you're worth more than that. Like, and finding out who you are and finding out what you like.
Right.
You can find true happiness.
Yeah, find yourself again. And like
within
we said,
yourself.
Right.
You know?
And like we said, we go after somebody so hard that we lose ourselves in the process. You forget that you had certain hobbies. You forget that you wanted to be a nurse. You forgot your children at some point time. You know, you forget how beautiful you were. You forgot that you had liked to write. You forgot that you had aspirations. But he came into your life. You had a lot of issues, and now they're buried due to the pain that you had to endure. Right. So all of you. Also, you have to detach yourself from all of the triggers. If you got pictures in your home, get rid of them.
Listen.
Right? Put them in a box and put them in the attic, right?
No, burn them.
If it's not your husband, burn them. Or wife, burn them.
If you don't have kids with that person and you can't give those memorabilia to your children, get rid of them.
Yeah.
Because all that does is keep you in the land.
It's the trigger. Keep you connected.
Of fantasy.
Yes.
Of what if.
Yeah.
Of what if. What if we can, you know what I'm saying? We were so perfect together. Like, really? Were you?
And it's a fantasy.
It was, when it was good, it was good. When it was bad, it was bad. But how many more bad years did you have than good?
Right. And a lot of those triggers are emotional. They, like, what are the things that you have in your surroundings that trigger that emotion or that connection? You know, do you have a cell phone in this name? Get your own cell phone, right?
Yeah. Your car insurance in this name. You know, you got photos lying around. You got cards lying around. You got teddy bears.
Right. You're talking. You're communicating all the time about her. You're talking about her. You know, get a different conversation. Get a hobby. So we got to learn how to detach ourselves from those things. So you got to ask yourself, what are the triggers? What's in my view that's causing me to react or think about that person?
To rehash it all the time.
Yes.
Because listen. When I broke up with my ex, let me tell you something. I mean, I broke up. It was like, throw it away, burn it. I don't care what you do with it. Just be done with it. Because, I mean, it's over. Like, I cried for 2 days. Now it's done. Like, I don't have nothing else to give.
And we know a lot of people are different.
Yes, a lot of
especially
people.
when you have children.
It's not always
when you have children, it is hard.
Yes.
It's harder.
But let me tell you something.
Right?
I'm one for rip the Band-Aid off. Okay? Yes, it hurts. Yes, the scar is ugly.
Yes.
Yes, it is painful. Rip it off.
Right.
Don't peel it back slowly. Rip that sucker all the way off so you can heal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, rip it, like literally throw it all away. Like, literally, don't hold on to anything that causes you to have a memory of that person that makes you feel like, oh, we were so. No, don't keep doing that to yourself. That is psychological torture.
It is, absolutely.
Like, don't keep doing that to yourself. Like, and like I said, unless you have children together and it's something that you can give to your children, don't hold on to it, because there's no need to hold on to old love letters.
No, right.
Old diaries about that person.
Right, perfume of that person.
Oh,
their clothes, their outfits, their t-shirts.
You just
still sleeping
sleep in their t-shirt?
In a t-shirt, right? You still Facebook friends with her. You know,
like,
sometimes you
just gotta
disconnect,
let it go.
sever all ties so that you could heal.
Yeah.
Because
if not, those triggers will keep tripping you up and you will never fully heal from it.
Right.
You'll never really let it go.
Yeah.
It's going to always be that what if in the back of your mind.
Right.
You know, I don't want to throw these away because what if we get back together? Well, what if you don't?
Yeah.
You're just going to hold on to them for 20 years? Like, what if you don't?
Yeah.
You know, like.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds like really easy. Like, get rid of it.
Right.
Like, no, but sometimes you do. You just got to do it. Like, You ever, like, it's like jumping in a cold pool. Like, just, like, jump in. Like, don't get in slowly. Like, because it's cold. And then you're going to wind up getting out because you can't take the cold. Like, just jump all the way in and get it over with.
Right.
You know, like, shock yourself. Just throw it away. Like, just get rid of it, because, seriously, it helps. Let it go. Yeah, David, for real.
Let it go.
Let that junk go. Especially if it was more painful than anything.
Yeah.
You know, if it caused you more heartache than anything, like, sometimes you really do have to let it go.
Right. And explore new things. And let's just go through these, babe. We're going to let everybody go.
Okay.
But there's a few things, tips on how to move forward, which we've hit on a lot of them. But the first thing is you need to stop going back. You know, don't look back. Drop that thing like it's hot. You know that it wasn't going to work. You know that it's already over. So stop going back. Number 2, you need to accept that it's over. I know that it's tough, but you need to accept the fact that he or she has moved on. Now you have to find new life and start to love yourself. Build the self-confidence and know that there's greater for you, right? And number 3 is to know and to have the aha moment that there's a brighter future for you.
It is.
Like,
it is.
She ain't all that's out here. She ain't the only pretty woman.
Oh, my goodness.
He ain't the only strong man out here, right?
How many lakes it is to fish in?
Right.
In Michigan?
Right.
You know how many places
and I know it's
you
tougher
can
for
go?
women. It's not a big.
Yes, it is.
But it is. There are people out here,
Stop
right?
saying it. stop saying
You're right.
that.
You're right. We'll stop saying
We gotta
that.
stop saying that because it is.
It is.
Like,
It
oh,
is.
it's only so many men. Like, no, who said you had to
Right.
marry a black man?
And he ain't got to be married.
Who said that
Uh-oh,
you had
don't
to?
we ain't gonna get into that topic right now.
Like, but for real, who said it though?
know,
Who
folks be
said
on
that
here cussing
love
us out,
only?
man.
Like, if you only
Talking
go
about
into
Black
your
Lives
local
Matter.
gas station and your local grocery store, you probably ain't gonna ever find nobody.
Right, right.
You're not, and like I like you're not going to find somebody
Right.
there. Go on the other side of town.
Right, fine. Yeah, yeah.
Like go to Sam's Club in
Right.
Commerce.
Right. There's a brighter
In
future.
Madison
There's
Heights.
more for you, right?
You know, go out to Ann Arbor.
Right.
I don't
the
know.
circle, get out of your circle.
Yeah,
You
like
know?
go do something go frequent somewhere else.
Right.
Like just don't go to your Walmart. Go to the Walmart, you know, on the other side of town because you might run into somebody. You might meet somebody and
Yeah.
you might be, you know,
Might
in-
get caught up.
yeah.
In
a
physical attraction, promise to myself. No.
Just
No, but
saying.
seriously, you know, you want to move forward. Like R. Kelly said, if you can see it, you can be it. And it's all about mindset. You know,
I believe I can fly.
The body can't go where the mind won't go.
Yeah.
So you got to know that there's a future
Yeah.
before you, that there's brighter days ahead of you, and know that you have value. Another one that we mentioned is to detach yourself from all triggers. We know that anything that reminds you of that person, you need to get rid of it. The other thing is that you need to choose yourself. You know, find value in who you are.
Yeah.
You know, and know that you are valuable, right?
Yeah.
And another thing is to explore new things. You know,
Yeah.
because you got to substitute, right? You can't just you got to fill a void.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you sit there and you'll be stressed out and depressed.
Yeah.
So you
And
gotta
that's not
get
okay.
some goals. You know, dream again. You know, spend more time with your children.
Go
Go to
bowling.
church. You know, get a
Like,
part
go
of
somewhere. Go do
volunteer
something.
for one mother to another.
Volunteer
right?
for one mother to another.
You know,
Like,
do something constructive with your
something.
life, right?
Like do something.
Yeah.
Because you will find pure happiness
Yeah.
in other things
Right.
that are outside of that person.
Yeah.
And that will take your mind off of those
Right.
things. And you'll find like that void is no longer there because you have filled it not with so many other things, but you have discovered that there were so many other things that made you
Right.
happy
Right.
outside of that person.
Yeah. Yeah. You idle. You know, you will fill in that idle time of those gaps that makes you think about it. You know, so you need to, in the healing process, you need people.
Yeah.
You know, you need
those
activities.
old
You need
friends.
community. You need, you know,
Get
go
you
after
some
something. You
good
need a
girlfriends.
vision, right? You need to go after something. And the last thing is to seek professional or spiritual help.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes we can't do it on our own, and we need a psychotherapist, a psychologist, or a pastor, or a counselor, a life coach to help coach us through
help you
these
through
things,
it.
right?
Yep, to help
because
you through it.
sometimes it's hard to even to know how valuable you are.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you need people to believe in you until you can believe in yourself.
That's right.
So you need people to tell you how beautiful you are and to remind you of how creative and how smart that you are
How
and
special you are.
how special you are.
You know, how valued you are, how
Yes.
valuable you are,
Yes.
how worthy you are of
Yeah,
somebody
absolutely.
who's going to love you for everything you are.
Right.
You know, and exactly for who you are.
Right.
You know, and it will be no strings attached.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and sometimes we need to hear that, and it is okay. Like we are all for seeking help.
Yeah, seek help.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't let that pride look. And you know what? Some people that are watching, they might be on an edge. You know, they might be in a marital relationship. You know, and like we said, for context and disclaimer, if you are in something, you continue to fight for that thing. If you're in a marital relationship, if the brother can't commit, I don't know what to tell you. But you want to fight
long
for
as
that
it's
thing,
not
right?
toxic.
Right. As long as it's
I'ma
not toxic.
say
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
100 times.
Yes. Yes.
Because anybody that is verbally abusing you, emotionally abusing you, or physically abusing you,
Yeah.
you don't fight for that. You fight.
Well, you
fight. You fight one to be healthy and whole and alive.
Right. No, understood. Understood.
And then when they fight to be healthy and whole, then you can fight together to make the relationship work. But until then, two hurt people, like you being bashed over the head and you taking it like, you know what I'm saying? He or she being bashed over the head and you dishing it out, like that's
Right, real toxic, and
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
just-
healthy.
that's not healthy
for
for
children. It's
either
not
one
healthy
of
for
you guys. So
absolutely.
if it's a toxic relationship, In all honesty,
Right.
I seriously say get help.
Right. And if you are not willing to do, two parties are not willing to do everything that it takes to sustain what they have, you need to probably come to a decision. And that's unfortunate, but people do what they want to do. So if you want your relationship, you'll fight for that relationship.
That's right.
And if you can't overcome your personal issues, you will go and get help to help you guys overcome, right? You'll get a mediator.
Yeah.
So I want to encourage you guys that if you're in a relationship, that you seek help. This isn't a stream to tell people to leave the people that they love,
No.
or to
absolutely
give
not.
up on love and your marriage or your family. Absolutely not. You fight for that thing. But I will challenge your lifestyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
We will challenge your habits and challenge what you're doing.
Yeah, your mindset.
So we got to reevaluate our position so that we can have a better world and a better family, right?
Yeah, because that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Like, when you actually think about it, like, it's creating a better life for our future.
Absolutely.
For not just ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Generationally,
But
right?
for our children.
For our legacy.
For our children's children.
Right.
Because if we create happy, healthy children, or if we create a happy and healthy home, our children will grow up in a happy and healthy home, and then they will reproduce that.
Right.
And then their children will reproduce that. And that's what we need.
That's what we need.
I wanna be the one to hold you close.